Poor Mr. Natsumi must be feeling very low being back in the cell again so soon. I'm sure we should probably go. And... Miss Naruto. Ah! Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player. That struts and frets this hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how is the sound of the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed! Oh, happy day. What? Walking Dead! The fellow isn't dead at all? What was that nonsense you're saying, though? I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 7. Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that. Because now it's gone from a murder case to poison. Incapacitating me. Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamspeare did consume poison as we deduced, but was it an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? It looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruto? Excuse me, could we have a word? Ah. You just... I've seen that man somewhere before. What was it? I do too, but I don't remember. Yeah. On the facial hair, included mustaches. Well, like, then again, there is facial hair. Are we fucking skinny? That still exists nowadays. Because I got stubble and I've got a mustache. I suppose that's the price you pay for living in very cheap accommodation. It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that. There always seems to be a bicycle outside the Gaudet residence. I read that bicycle is extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment, in fact. That one seems very warped though, especially the front wheel. Do I have to make it more of a challenge to ride, do you think? No, I'm afraid that may be a result of the rider's incompetence. The front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly affected. And there's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing on this bicycle, I think. Oh yeah, I think you may be right. It does rather look as though it would have collapsed and even smallest earthquake, doesn't it? And isn't it supposed to be haunted as well? I think I have a hunch as to why Saseki-san is such a hunchback. Move. February 21st. The Garadebs. Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget. Ah, you chaps here. Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bully nonsense this morning. I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened to Mr. Garadeb? Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that. Dead loss and acted chap in the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Greggson's words, weren't they? Converse. This morning's incident. It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what happened. Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. And at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer. And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door? Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept for half an hour. That's very true, Miss Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behaviour, I'd have to kick your door down every morning. Don't go there! Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry, you know that. Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden? Except that was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door. The victim's name is Mr. Shamspeare, I believe. Is that right? Yes, William Shamspeare. Talked around the floor of him 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? In a word, destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone who lives in a place like that is either broke or has a body screw loose. I'll have to choose which category Saseki-san will fall into. Miss Naruhodo, that's a little rude. I was doing research as well. Research? You know what? Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated. Seems incredible that Shakespeare was thrown into Sao. Someone was too heavy-handed now. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? And of course, Miss Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspeare would have had much in common. Shakespearean interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. Miss Naruhodo, really? How rude. Wait, is he whispering it, or is he thinking that? After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between them and this morning? Well now, it must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily as I remember, and it was completely dark already. Luckily that failed actor chap was out at the time. Hey mate, fix your carpet, will ya? You got the money. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat for the file pit. After 8 before Shamspeare got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark now. He ain't dead. Well, thank you. That's very illuminating. Is everything alright, Miss Susato? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, and that's all. Mr. Garadeb, you were up here in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly. Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg. And then, how is it that you seem to know the precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor? Ah! That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants, is that it? Jackpot! I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a boy outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants, why would I? And how did you know, Mr. Garadeb? It's the gas woman. The gas tells me everything. The gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes. Yes, I've more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside, and the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main. Yes, I understand that too. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room will get brighter. Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms in the house will dim for them. What? They dim? Why? Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, wouldn't it? Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. That's what's happened though. It sounds rather undesirable. Jolly good point. The fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out. Barely got any gas in them to start with. Obviously it's also true, of course, extinguish the lamps up here and they'll glow bright in the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it. Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires. Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, they can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadeb. Absolutely fascinating. Oh, well, nothing to it really. And I can't really see how it's going to help us with the case either. I'd like to know is why Mr. Garadeb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. February, local prison, cell 9. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, haven't the police finished questioning you now? No, come student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me! Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes. He actually called himself a great detective, Mr. Natsumi. They've left me. Ah, curse, I'm cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts. Credit where credit is due, Miss Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the abduction too. Yes, moving on, we have some wonderful news. Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolutely worst case, he could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Miss Natsumi? It's terrible! Oh, I'm stuck in the cell, suffering some silly wrong end of the stick. You did, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions! Well, if you get judged for just having a mustache, I'm glad I wasn't lucky. I'm glad I didn't live in those days. Oh, yeah. Ah, that selfish shyster! Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you're going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamspeare was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes. Well, that makes sense. Please say he's alive, of course. The lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last. Oh. Mr. Natsumi, does this mean... No, you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspeare, didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsumi, we need to hear your side of the story. Ugh, why am I cursed like this? What happened? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsumi? There's nothing to tell, but Miss Naruhodo Esquire. I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. Case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized. And after she ended up with a knife in her back. Was John convicted for that? It's hard to believe that was only yesterday. I'm assuming so because John was on his own there. After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And evening at past 9 it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamspeare. So you did go to the victim's room then. As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong. I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time. Then, what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. We had to go out, so I bade him farewell. It ties in what Miss Gardev said, and the victim went out and came back after we met again late that evening at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift. So as you brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then. And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? Yes, that's right, that's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet, who was the stronger? It was the life for debate. I'm sure. And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspeare's tea. No! Never! Not at all! Him and Juliet won! That was me! And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit! I swear it! Categorically! Mr. Natsumi, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time, I've learned that's no place for me. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me, they all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago I moved into Royal Road. But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it spoke to me. The rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died now. Oh no! I was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realised it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave or blinkered. But after I moved in, I soon came to realise what I'd done. I realised how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, was it really so awful? Horrible history. Who remembers horrible histories? How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring out my back, watching me. Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you? No, my mind doesn't know any tricks. There's someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was give him the keys to the place. Nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? All the souls who died in that room are living over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. That really is horrible. Now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamsbury was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated suddenly by those miserable spirits in my room. They simply must move out of that room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. I know it, and that's why I'm already searching for the next room of a history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may be history. Phew. Just awful song really doesn't make the man listen. Of course, Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. You mean Mr. Garrett? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent out again. Well, that's true. I for one wouldn't go near the place. Ah, perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps in his tenant agreements. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He seems to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. Must be a reason why he keeps such close company. What do you mean? He pays so much attention to gas lamps. Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shamsbury isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come around and he's able to tell us what happened, he will be able to get you released. Yes, please, I do hope you're right. Ahem, excuse me. Inspector Gregson! I couldn't help overhearing what you just said, and on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Oh? Which do you want first? Always, every time, the bad news comes first. And hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my kind of principle. Right, well, in that case, the good news it is. Huh? Sorry, but it's just like you need to explain everything that way. Then why did you ask me my preference? As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamsbury, was just unconscious. He's come round now. Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we managed to get a written statement from him already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Miss Natsume? Oh, thank goodness. It's all over now. I can leave this song with itself. Sorry, no, that's not on the cards. What? Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shamsbury has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone? Oh dear. You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointing the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Ah! Why so you poisoned secret to end my life? Now wicked Heathcliff, Soseki Natsume. No! So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. No! And so, once again, Seki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. I was almost wanted to whether he was just terribly unlucky. I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse I've lied to. We continued momentarily. I'm not gonna lie, I got pretty good thus far. Creepy how similar the X-Files is to real life. The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. get chills in my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time. Well, I never think I'll be back here so soon. That's my line. Good morning! Ah, good morning, Mr. Natsume. It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here. Yes, we somehow managed to prove you didn't stab Miss Green in the back. But now this, another morning, another murder, and here I am again in this hellhole. Can't keep coming to court. I'm beginning to think he's right. What's the news, Chris? Miss Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh. Miss Natsume, good morning. Yes, morning. So, here we are again. Yes, again. Judicial Assistant Miss Mikotobe Esquires. What's the bad news? Oh dear, you heard, did you? If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help him, we say. Oh, I'm sorry. You've done nothing wrong, Mr. Sato. Now what is it? Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord Baron Van Zieks. Van Zieks? Ah! Oh no, oh, no, no, no. Oh god, this is back when he was constantly nitpicking as well. So-called Reaper the Bailey, the most legendary prosecutor in the land. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Seki-san and I relentlessly, of course by the skin of our teeth. We managed to pull through. Still. Guilty! Perhaps Miss Natsume is acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter after all. Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zieks is the prosecutor. Oh no. Even if that person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another. I've experienced it firsthand. Karma. A man we successfully defended, which cost me my job. The most terrifying end after his acquittal, right here in the Old Bailey. Ah, do I have to put up with those ice cold eyes boiling into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits and now by the Reaper? I'm seeing how I can. Granted, you might argue that what was it? They sacked the guy for being manipulated. Basically. You wasn't anyone now. And shortly after he realised it, and he didn't realise it to the last second, he had his doubts, but until talking with Lestrade, he then pieced it together, and this promises to be a hard battle, I fear. Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom. Let's go. Oh yes, I forgot to say. I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean. That's probably for the best. Oh! If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Zieks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling. I like how all the way through the first one I did with story mode. You're right, yes, you're so right. Oh, well said, locum student Miss Naruhodo Esquire. Well said. I swear on the sword at my side and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbours. I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free with honour. Oh, yes! 22nd February, 9:40 AM. The Old Bailey courtroom. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels of the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. With these snazzy new goggles. Readiness for the trial, my Lebanese friend, is not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for the inevitable defeat. It's not just my imagination, it's really Lord Van Zeeks has such an animosity towards the Japanese for some reason. Well, some time ago now that he first became known as Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years he hasn't appeared in court at all. Yet now he's back in the courtroom. No, for some reason, only when I'm defending. But that's unfair for me. This Reaper, with its curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Saseki-san's trial. Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 leading gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen out of random to represent the will of the people in this trial. You again! The British jury system is so very different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public, one of which was trying to get a verdict of guilty to get out of having to pay the debt, even though he was guilty. But they didn't realise, but Rinosuke didn't realise that until after the trial had ended. 6 citizens of London chosen at random, or at least that's the idea. The prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today. No, something different. Very well, let's commence the trial. Lord Van Zeeks, your opening statement, please. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Lebanese before has had dire consequences. Didn't the accused repent of his wrongdoing that day? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate the most blood-curdling trial, namely that of the attempted murder of his neighbouring lodger, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstances of the trial, the prosecution calls his first witness to the stand. The detective responsible for investigating the scene, and the accused himself. Witnesses, your names and occupations, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division, who hopefully lost his job. After Graydon's trial. Saseki Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture. Miss Natsume. Yes, my lord, sir. I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken. That you swore on oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were yesterday. The day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough. Believe me, this is the last place I want to be. Inspector, let's hear it from you first. Explain the case for the court. Right you are, sir. The incident occurred at the Garridev household where the defendant has lodgings. In the ground floor room of the victim, Mr. William Shamsbury. The defendant has admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shamsbury collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine. He was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door. This means, I presume, the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident? Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible. Although the victim, Mr. Shamsbury, lives to tell tale, he very nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. And I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked. Yes, a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased. That's right. Everyone present believed that's exactly what he was. Very well, I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court. The crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record. Now then, Miss Nelson. Yes. As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture? They're haunted. Haunted by evil spirits. Good gracious, what's haunted? My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. 10 before we died. In the same circumstances, a woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbour was poisoned, and me! What about me? I've never been killed countless times. Killed, Mr. Natsumi? Oh. Even on that fateful night it happened, when I returned from Mr. Shamsbury's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me. You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsumi. It's so cold, my runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbour. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed? Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of events. If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive point. Conclusive? Go on. Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamsbury, has regained consciousness after his ordeal, and he is named the true culprit. The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused. The accused? Good grief! Order! Order! Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. Seki-san is innocent, and why? Why has the victim accused him? Well, Mr. Natsumi, what have you to say to this accusation? That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea when we were on a visit in Mr. Shamsbury's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I brought boiled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again. Never! The public pump was frozen, you say? That's not information we've had before. That will do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection? None whatsoever, my lord. Good, then you will give your account of events on the night in question to the court now. Yes, my lord. The catastrophic night. It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbour and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11. Ah, my tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he? Stretch 9 takes some time to have an effect on the body. We would unkeel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands. Inspector, is it your job to just antagonize everyone? You're the same way in Graydon's trial. Yes, I see. It all seems relatively straightforward. Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsume claims his teeth have been harmless. Presumably, though, the teacups have been examined for traces of the poison, haven't they? Why didn't I think of that? Well, as it happens, no. We haven't been able to. Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect's substance. How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first one you should have done? I learned from struggling to dispose the incensed. The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the teeth. Not that it was overlooked. Unable? Why? It's simple enough. There was none left. Not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed. With current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poison under such circumstances. We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funny enough. The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question. I see. Thank you. The matter is clear. Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend. What? You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed. In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for eternity. That's right, I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. But I can't let them beat me down. I won't. Counsel for the defence, proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. In a catastrophic night.
Hold it!
Were you and your neighbour good friends then? Ah, no, we weren't friends. Not at all, not at all. Never, ever. Simple no would have sufficed. Then, why did you decide to pay him a visit? Mr. Shamspeare fancied himself as having great literary knowledge. As a fellow scholar of English literature, we find much to talk about together. Come now, your Japanese could understand the finer points of English literature. And on the night in question. That was a topic of conversation as well, I presume. It was the day of my last trial when I was acquitted. I just arrived back at my lodgings. I ran into Mr. Shamspeare outside on the street. That was at around 6 o'clock. We exchanged 1 or 2 pleasantries, but it soon turned into a heated discussion. He was on his way out at the time, though. So I promised to visit his room that evening at 9 to continue our debate. But did I have ill intentions? No! Not one! Not 2, not any, not at all. Never, ever. A simple no would have sufficed, I feel. You can tell the court what did happen when you visited the victim's room.
Hold it!
A literary debate about Shakespeare's works, I think you said, didn't you? Shakespeare? Ah, a very worthy topic of conversation, I must say. Oh yes, my lord. Romeo and Juliet, who was stronger? It was a profoundly pleasurable parley. Romeo and Juliet? Who was stronger? I know I'm going to regret asking this, but how did the debate go? Well, we both agreed that we'd reach a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment. So we battled it out, in a Greco-Roman style, naturally. What? Mr. Shamspeare had all sorts of costumes in his room for just such a contest. So when you say a reenactment, you mean you were actually in costume? He is Romeo, I is Juliet, and after a vigorous wild tussle, I dare not imagine the terrible scene of carnage. And the fact remains that I was you who prepared the tea to feed the victim, correct? I boiled the water in my room and made a pot to take with me. I've heard that I was too poor to have tea himself, you see. It's true, there was no sound of any tea leaves in the man's room. But we'll need to do something nice. To be friendly. So why is everyone looking at me with such suspicion? My tea was harmless, of course it was. And do you have any basis for that statement, witness?
Hold it!
Yes, there was not a drop of tea left in the victim's room anywhere, was there? That's correct. Anyone would think the fellow had never had a pot of tea before. It was the liquid dry, which is a pity because one drop is all we would have needed to analyze it for poison. And you say that you returned home to your room at 11 o'clock, Mr. Natsumi? Yes, definitely. By heaven and earth, I swear it. The landlord was able to verify that, as it happens. He confirmed that the defendant went back to his room at 11 that night. And how is the landlord able to attest to this? He, sells lamps, I believe. The lamps, Inspector? When tenants return to their rooms and start using gas, the lamps in other parts of the house flicker. Yes, Mr. Garrett seems to pay a lot of attention to the comings and goings of his tenants. Must have fallen out. Yes, you're right. I remember it too. But now the depression is completely empty. Where could this have gone? There's only one key to Mr. Shamspeare's room. I know that for certain. So he must have locked the door himself from inside his room. The victim has confirmed that to be the case, yes. So I'm right, my tea was harmless, completely harmless. If you take poison, you die. Everyone knows that. Not that simple, I'm afraid. What do you mean? How long does it take for symptoms to appear then? According to the coroner I was speaking to, about 30 minutes after the poison's consumed. Oh, coroner. Oh my god, that right. For some reason it sounded like I was saying the virus. Then the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation. So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. There seems to be a lot of different types of poison in the world, that's for sure. Oh dear, death by poisoning again? It's always so awful. 30 minutes is a long time. Certainly not enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left. You can't deny that. And it further degrades Saseki-san's alibi. I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. As I really, the accused is the only person who could have done it. Very well, the court will add this report to the court record as evidence. Oh yes, I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms. Great. The argument still stands, you say? This is what Mr. Natsume has been saying, isn't it? Pair of them drank tea together that night, so if there was poison in it, the victim wouldn't have been able to lock the door after the accused left later on. Exactly! Oh, me and my dear innocent! Sweet innocent, I tell you. I'm afraid, sir, that doesn't follow. You see, strychnine is a slow-acting poison. In other words, it takes time for symptoms to appear. So you could have left the room 30 minutes after the victim drank the tea. As long as you did now, Mr. Shamsbury could have locked the room after you'd gone. But no! We drank the tea straight away. Bottle over whether Romeo or Juliet was stronger. That came after the tea. Do you have any evidence to support that statement? In my great homeland, in the Empire of Japan, we have a saying. Drink tea while it's hot. Sure, a proverb will satisfy the prosecution. I'm afraid there's no conclusive proof to support the defendant's assertion. On the contrary, there are sufficient grounds to infer his guilt in this matter. No! That's the extent of their testimony, is it? If I could voice a personal opinion, Miss Naruhodo? Of course, go ahead. Miss Natsume is arguing for his innocence adamantly and so persistently. Inspector Gregson just brushed what he said aside. It's really quite infuriating. I agree. We need to find an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying, I think. I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to find Mr. Natsume guilty. As I see, all we need to focus on is the poison in the tea. Let's listen carefully to this testimony again. Yes. So none of these two. Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener or scissors, did they? Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. Hey! I'm judging from the angle of the VIP here. The person in question must have been right-handed. Mr. Sato, I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You can never eat too much of it, Mr. Naruhodo. Never! Present.
Objection!
I'm gonna look like an idiot, things. Yep. I knew it. after which one.
Hold it!
Yeah, that looks like he's just killed over.
Objection!
The witness's last statement is clearly contradictory when you consider this piece of evidence here. Yes, undeniable. Oh, God. Fuck my life!
Hold it!
Okay, so when was he keeling? So at one point was he keeling over then? One 1:30 AM. 1:30 AM. That's extend with testimony, is it? If I could voice person. The poison and the tea. Okay, so. Medical report?
Objection!
Nope. I was wrong.
Objection!
My brain just died.